games like Mafia, which I played for the first time over Christmas break. So fun. And the computer game that my kids are obsessed with, it's called Among Us. Extremely popular these days. And these games all have something in common. You have to be a good liar in order to win.
What kind of lessons are we teaching? Well, there's a new game show on ABC called The Hustler, and it premieres tonight. It's hosted by Craig Ferguson. And one of the contestants in every episode is lying. And in the premiere episode, one of those potential liars is a teacher at Robbinsdale Cooper High School. Brianna Hershey joins us via Skype to talk about the show. Bree, oh my gosh, how fun to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so I mentioned that my family, we were playing Mafia over Christmas break. It's so exciting. Everybody's given a role, but nobody else knows the role that you're playing. And then I'm reading about The Hustler. It sounds like folks who know those games, Mafia or Among Us, will automatically have an interest in The Hustler. Explain the game a little more for folks now that you've actually participated in it, what this game is all about.
Yeah, so it's very similar to those, which is kind of crazy because Among Us has been like a big, game that everybody's been playing. And this game show was actually taped over a year ago before that, that game ever even came out. But so what's going to happen is there's going to be 5 different contestants, and one person among them already knows all of the answers. And their goal is to get through the entire show without getting caught, that they know the answers for a reason, right? Because they were told ahead of time. So you're playing with other people, you're trying to play trivia, do the best you can to bank as much money as you can, but at the same time, you're eyeing up all the other people because you're figuring out who's lying, or is it me who's lying and I have to cover my identity. So it's kind of a fun mystery.
Well, and for folks who have played, let's go back to Mafia, the card game. You get a card and it tells you what your role is.
Yes.
You're given very little notice, and then your lie begins from there. The interesting twist in The Hustler, though, is that you are playing a trivia game. And so do you get fed answers in the moment? Are you told the answers right beforehand? That feels like that would be a difficult lie to keep up with.
Yeah, so they told The Hustler, because obviously I can't say whether it was me or not, but they told The Hustler 10 minutes before the show started. And they pretty much sat them down and said, hey, here's the answers to the 10 trivia questions, quick memorize them, and then go. Because they don't want someone who can prep it too much ahead of time. They want someone who can lie on the spot.
Oh my gosh. That's him. I can't even memorize a grocery list before I go into the store.
And then imagine lights, camera, action, because Craig Ferguson, he's the host and he's very entertaining. And I would imagine that if you're told the answers 10 minutes beforehand, just the act of walking out on set would wipe all of that from my memory. How's Craig Ferguson as host in this format?
He's super funny. He was definitely someone that loved kind of the game of it. He really was intrigued by it. And it was fun too, because during commercial breaks, they would always ask him, who do you think it is? And he'd be like, oh, I think it's this person. And then, if that person got eliminated, he'd be like, okay, just kidding, this person. He was playing along right with us, because only backstage 2 people ever knew who the Hustler actually was. All the cameraman didn't know, the audience didn't know, most of the producers didn't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so every commercial break, they kind of say to the audience, who do you think it is? And they'd all raise their hand and, kind of take bets and guesses on who they thought it was. So everybody got to play, which was really...
This is so cool. So, okay, Bree, compared to your role as a teacher, and then as the person who's on the game show circuit, because I know you've been on other game shows too. I mean, which one's tougher? Which one's more pressure? Being in front of a Robbinsdale Cooper high school class or being on a game show?
I would say, that's a good question. I would say being on a game show is probably a little more stressful, and, it's a little more anxiety ridden because you just don't know what's going to happen. And with this game show too, it's tough because I didn't really know what I was walking into. I had no idea. I was auditioning for a bunch of game shows back, because you're allowed to be on a game show every 2 years. So once I was done with Family Feud, I started auditioning and looking at a bunch of different shows. So I actually did not apply to this one. Crazy enough, they called me. They had seen my auditions before, and they were like, hey, we saw you on Match Game. Are you interested in a new game? And I was like, sure. I don't know what it is, but why not? And they said, are you a good liar, or can you spot a liar? And I said, well, I'm a teacher, a high school teacher. I spot liars.
Yes.
No kidding. Oh my gosh. Bree, what an interesting LinkedIn you now have. Thank
I
you
love
for
this.
joining us. We wish you luck. We will watch it all unfold together. Congratulations to you for scoring that spot on the show. The Hustler airs tonight at 9 o'clock right here on 5 Eyewitness News, right after The Bachelor. That's when you can see how. So it goes from Matchler, The Bachelor,
Matchler.
right into
To
The
the
Hustler.
Hustler. Oh, I